Hi, I'm Cindy Bertram. Thanks for joining me today on Good Ship Happens. And it's been a really exciting week. Of course, I always get excited about the cruise industry, of course, sharing good things because good ship happens. Yes. And something that just came up today was actually, we talked about different ports where people can actually take cruises from, including the U.S. And what came up is actually Port of Galveston. Okay, we've had new ships sailing out of Port of Galveston, but also what they did was this week, they've got a fourth cruise terminal, and it's going to be for MSC Cruises, which is going to home port their ships there, which is great. And they just did this big ceremony too, a groundbreaking festivities too, which came up. And I thought that was so exciting because once again, you got so many options as far as where you can cruise from, including Galveston, Texas, right? Well, and I don't think I have to say y'all, but anyway, Galveston, Texas is another port that's going like crazy. And they just did this sand cutting event, okay, which was great as far as the additional terminal. And it's going to start, I think, the port, I think it's going to be 2026, I think. But once again, they welcomed MSC Cruises, which was great, and the officials also there participating in this really wonderful event. And so once again, too, it's just great because once again, options as far as where you want to sail out of. Of course, Port Canaveral has been growing like crazy, which is good. You've also got Port Miami, which is actually the where cruise lines actually began years ago. We have also Fort Lauderdale, Port Everglades, which I really love. It's great. And you've got ships sailing in from New York City, which is great too, but also on the West Coast too. But once again, this is great because once again, another option to think about maybe taking a cruise from Port Galveston, okay? So I want to share that. I thought that was really exciting. That really made my day today too, which is great. Also, another cruise line that has been around for quite a long time, and they're family owned, and it is actually American Cruise Lines. And what they did was their newest ship, the American Liberty, was actually just christened in Newport, Rhode Island. And with this ship, it's the American Liberty, which is just christened this week, which is great. Also, as far as the ceremony, um, it's their third new coastal cat ship. They call them a coastal cat ship, right? But it's a 100-passenger ship. It was just christened in Newport, Rhode Island this week, which is great. And it took place on a wonderful sunny day in Fort Ems State Park. And it was great too because that's where the small ships actually dock. But also, as far as the christening celebration, it included cruise guests, some community members too, officials from Sail Newport, and also Fast Adams State Park, which is great. And then a small group of Americans, executives and crew members too. Charles B. Robinson is the president, CEO of the American Cruise Lines. Also, they did different remarks too. I'm trying to think other events too. Excuse me. What they did was they had different people there, which is great. And of course, they did the ceremonial thing where they crashed. Of course, the um, ceremonial crash of champagne too. And then they had, which that was fun too, was they have a traditional New England lobster bake at Fort Adams State Park, where guests could enjoy discussions and live demonstration of the region's ancient Native American cooking process too. And I think that was just so much fun. And also, as far as the godmother, who served as the American Liberty godmother, was actually the vice Commander Claire Harrington of the New York Yacht Club. She served as the godmother of American Liberty, and they'll be developing more partnerships too. But I thought that was really great because once again, um, with this new ship, their Coastal Cat series of ships, the American Eagle was actually christened and started service sailing in August 2023. And then the American Glory's christening in Key West took place in November 2023. And then their fourth new Coastal Cat ship, American Legend, is going to actually start sailing and being christened this November. Okay? So I think this is wonderful what they're doing too, because once again, it's a way to really expand different ships and sailing within the U.S. waterways too, which is great too. So once again, congratulations on American Cruise Lines and their christening of their new Coastal Cat ship, the American Liberty. And of course, like I said, their next Coastal Cat ship will actually be christened in November of this year, the American Legend. So once again, American Cruise Lines, they're a fantastic company. They are U.S. owned, and they also have separately the company actually builds their ships, which are very, very small. So these are 100 guest capacity ships too. But I thought that was really, really fun too. So they just took acquisition of their American Liberty, and actually she just was christened earlier this week, which is great. Also, another cruise line that's really growing like crazy is AMA Waterways. They've been around over 22 years, and they are owned, and co-founders include Rudy Schreiner, who is the co-founder, president of AMA Waterways, Christine Carnes, also one of the Murphy family members too, but his dad worked with him originally, and then he came on after his dad passed away. But they've got some really, really wonderful things they're doing right now too. I mean, just so many good news things they're doing too, which is great. So once again, with this, Waterways, they are doing some really fantastic things. Okay, they started cruising in the waterways of Europe, which is great. Adding more ships, and one thing you mentioned too is Rudy's been a different guest in different shows and things, but I know that they do a lot of sailings, of course, on the Danube River, and they're expanding that like crazy. But also, one thing that they're doing too is they're actually expanding into South America. Yes. Okay, they're working very hard on this. Rudy just came back from another event. He was actually a guest on their weekly updates with Waterways. But what they're doing is they're going to be doing these Explore the Columbia River, okay, in South America. And it's going to start in 2025. So they're busy because they got 2 new ships that will be sailing on the Magdalena River. And what they're doing is they're going to be sailing from Cartagena to, I think it's pronounced Barranquilla. And it sounds fantastic. Once again, there'll be smaller ships. What's fun too, as far as Rudy Schrein, who's known as he's really known as the architect of the river cruise industry too. He actually was an architect first and got into helping other people start river cruises before he started on Waterways with Christine Carnes, another partner. But what they did was, he really is known for what they do as far as building their ships and wonderful things too. Once again, they've got 2 new ships that are going to be exclusively sailing on the Magdalena River in South America, which is really, really fun. And right now, those be starting 2025. So there's some time, but it just sounds so exciting. I can't wait. Also, what they do too is they've got they do sail on the Nile River too, which people might not be aware of, because once again, it's a beautiful area. My parents actually had a chance to see parts of it a long time ago, but what they're doing is they've got they're also offering with Waterways got this their 82 passenger Lilia, and she's offering a 7-night itinerary round trip. Lux, which is part of their Waterways 11 nights Secrets of Egypt and the Nile program too. And so the Lilia is sailing on the Nile River, and they just debuted it in June this year. And the Amalilia actually accommodates 82 passengers, guests, and it's paired also with some 3-night pre and post cruise stays in Cairo, or the prestigious St. Regis, which is actually overlooking the Nile River too. And what's really is the good thing too is, few countries can really grip the imagination of the Nile like Egypt. Okay, you've got massive pyramids, you've got secret tombs, you've got colorful markets, and you've got the majestic Nile River too. My parents actually had a chance to go to Egypt a long time ago, Egypt a long time ago, but once again, it just looked like such a phenomenal experience because once you think about the pyramids, the pictures my parents shared when they came back were just phenomenal. Once again, they did a tour. They didn't do a Nile River cruise because back then cruise lines weren't doing that. And once again, one thing is, really few countries really kind of grip that imagination like the Egypt does. And with waterways, they've got two beautiful ships that are really going through this really, really picturesque stretch of the river on a round trip cruise from Luxor, including 2 nights in Aswan. And as mentioned, the Amalilia offers 41 different staterooms with beautiful views. This includes 13 different suites that measure up to 522 square feet. The amenities include a sun deck bar, a swimming pool. Who would want to swim and then see the pyramids, right? Passing the pyramids and swimming, right? But you're not in the water. You're swimming on the ship in a pool, which is great. Also, they've got a fitness room, hair and nail salon. They've got a massage room. They got 2 different restaurants that really serve locally inspired cuisine. They also have nightline entertainment. And of course, what's really fun too is each cruises, they're accompanied by Egyptologists, and they stay on the ship and lead the shore excursions too, which is great. So right now, the Amalilia is going to start sailing. Actually, she's going to start sailing this September, which is a couple weeks, through June each year. So, and they just announced that, so that's good because I think they just maybe announced this, and she'll start sailing this September. Once again, the sailings on the Nile River will go from September through June each year, starting this September. So keep that in mind, because it's another great way to really maybe experience Egypt a different way. But the thing is, well, my parents got a chance to do Egypt a long time ago. I mean, I love the photographs they took when they came back, but the pyramids looked amazing, and just the little areas too. But this is a great way to really see it and relax when you're on the their ships, which is great too. But that was really fun too. As mentioned, of course, what ways besides having those ships they're building that could be sailing on the Magdalena River in South America. They got Norp vessels they just announced too. In 2026, they've got 2 new vessels. The Amakea joins the Amadira, on the Mekki River, and the Ama Sophia will actually sail in Europe's Rhine and Danube rivers. And the Ama Sophia will become their 24th vessel in Europe. 24 vessels just in Europe. And they've got a launch date that they just announced that's going to be for May 24th of 2026. And her inaugural 14-night itinerary is going to be called Magnificent Europe. And that will be followed around of emperors, kings, and queens as it journeys between Amsterdam and Budapest. Also, the trip traverses through 3 rivers into 4 different countries. And the highlights include a guided bike rides through the vineyards and small towns. And once again, with the guided bike rides, Waterways has free bikes for their guests to use. Okay, so you don't have to ride a bike. Okay, they're on board their ships, but they have free bikes. And they're offering guided bike rides through the vineyards and small towns, visits to a pretzel factory, yes, tours of numerous castles and palaces, also culinary excursions, and also the deep dives into historic cities too. And the Ama Sofia is scheduled for 31 departures in 2026. So you have multiple itineraries on the Danube, such as the Melodies of the Danube. They've got the Romantic Danube, and they got the Christmas markets on the Danube too. And with the Ama, I think it's pronounced Kalia, she's going to embark on her first 7-night cruise August 3rd, 2026. And passengers will get a chance to really explore the ancient cultures of Vietnam and Cambodia on a wide range of different types of shore excursions with local dining and onboard entertainment. And also, they've got exploration opportunities. These include a traditional, they call it a trishaw rise, visits to workshops and monasteries, a Buddhist blessing ceremony, and learning about the regional history from those who actually taught it, and also many places, people that lived it too. Also, the Amakaya's 2-night, 7-night itineraries, it's called the Charms of the Mekong, and the Riches of Mekong are going to really blend together well-known sites and off-the-beaten-path experiences too. And the vessel is going to have 22 sailings in 2026 and at least 38 sailings in 2027. Also, they will have, of course, land extensions available for several different cities, including Siem Reap, which is the home of the largest religious structure. And it just sounds really, really fun what they're doing too. But they've just announced so much news, which is great. I think I love it more. It's really fantastic. I've written about Amawates, but I haven't had a chance to sail on them, but I love to, because it's another way to really, really kind of see and experience the rivers in different places, including Europe. Of course, that Nile River cruise looks fantastic, doesn't it? And I've been to Cartagena a long time ago, but I'll tell you what, it was really, really kind of an interesting culture. But to actually sail on that river, the Magdalena River, sounds fantastic too. And what they did was, for their 2026 river cruises, they actually have opened up their registrations and bookings. So you can actually, there's been a lot of demand, of course, for their 2024, of course, and 2025 seasons. What they're doing is they have opened up their reservations so people can actually start reserving bookings, doing their bookings for the 2026 river cruises, which is good too. And as mentioned, they've got new ships, of course, which is exciting. New ships always excite me so much. But they've got, right now, I've shared a lot so far, but they mentioned they're going to launch 7 new ships in Portugal, Egypt, Colombia, and Europe in, 2024, 2025. And then in 2026, Waterways is going to add 2 more ships. The Ama Sofia, which is going to be sailing on the Danube River beginning May 24th, 2026. And then the 14-night Magnificent Europe itinerary, which will follow the route of emperors and kings and queens, as it journeys between Amsterdam and also Budapest. And then they got the Ama Maya and the Ama Dana on the May King in August 2026. And as mentioned too, they've got the Cambodia experiences too. Plus, what I think is really fantastic is doing the Magdalena River, and that's going to be launching in, I think, 2025, because right now they're working on the ships and things too. And they've got, of course, different excursions too, and as mentioned, they sail in different places too, so not just sailing in Europe, which is great. They expanded. They have, of course, sailings on Colombia. That's going to start, the Columbia River Cruise is going to start in January 2025, and that's on the Magdalena River in Colombia, which is great. And also got Egypt Cruises, which is great, and Africa, people are not aware of either, but they do that as well. And once again, just a bit more about Waterways. They have different dining venues, which is great. They've got their chef's table, which is a specialty restaurant, unlimited wine, beer, and soft drinks with lunch and dinner. They've got a daily sip and sail cocktail hour with wine, beer and spirits, and soft drinks. And they got a variety of different small group excursions too, which is great. It includes hiking, biking. Once again, they have bikes on board their ships too. They've got special interest tours. They've got high quality Wi-Fi. They've got complimentary wellness programs in Europe. And on the May King, they've got a variety of different host-led fitness classes and much more. And once again, right now, Our Waterways have been operating for 22 years. They're family owned, which is great. And they really offer these really unparalleled river cruise line experiences too. They mentioned 29 custom designed ships sail among their rivers in Europe, also with the Southeast Asia Mekong River, Africa's Chobe River, with Egypt, of course, the Nile River, and then, of course, in 2025 is when they'll be sailing on the Columbia Magdalena River. And it's great too, because once again, when they were actually founded back in 22 years ago, it was founded by Rudy Schreiner, who's known as the architect of the river cruise industry, Christine Carnes, and then Jimmy Murphy, which is great. But they've got different things too, which is great too. So to keep that in mind too, there's so much going on with the river cruise industry, but I love what AMA Waterways do. And by the way, AMA does mean love, and they're still family owned, which is great. And you know, they just provide some phenomenal things, and just it's a great way to really think about maybe taking a river cruise over in Europe if you want to first, but then you can explore different opportunities too, different places too. I really get excited what they're doing as far as the Magdalena River. It really sounds fun too. And one thing they do too is they're known as far as, you know, where nature really fits luxury, which is great. I mean, they offer different ways for people to really enjoy wildlife viewing, which is great. Special national parks, excursions, and different places, for instance, in the South African cities. But also, like I said, they've got, you know, their African itineraries include a 4-night cruise on the Chobe River on board their Zamberi, I think, Queen, which is great. But they just offer some phenomenal things, so keep it in mind too, because once again, they keep adding more ships, but that's always good too. Once again, they're smaller ships, usually under 100 guests. And the good thing is, with river cruising over in Europe, other places too, what's great is you sail on the rivers, and so their river ships are actually your floating hotels, but they're smaller, actually can get into smaller areas too, which is great too, as far as even with Europe, which is great. So definitely keep that in mind too. It's something I definitely want to do sometime too, as far as sailing on a river cruise, but I think Europe would be fantastic. But I'm also really excited what they're doing with the Magdalena River down in South America. Something that's kind of fun too is it's really kind of fun when you hear about people getting awards too. And this just came up this week too. Christine Duffy, who is the president of Carnival Cruise Line, was just named to the 4th annual Forbes 50 over 50 list in the lifestyle category. Christine Duffy is a phenomenal person. I've met her several times. She's phenomenal. And I included my first book, plus I'm updating my another book and including her in a chapter. But as far as her story, Christine Duffy, when she got out of school, she wanted to be a flight attendant. Well, guess what? Back then, to be a flight attendant, you had to be a certain height weight. It'd be 5'4". Well, guess what? Christine Duffy is 5'2". So she was 2 inches too short to be a flight attendant. She took a different path, okay? It's one of those things where you get to know, take a different path, different direction. That's exactly what she did. She got into the travel industry, started working for an agency, then moved up. It was really her passion, and she really loved cruising anyway, which is great too. Then she got in the incentive industry too, moved up, and then in 2013, Christine became president of the Cruise Lines International Association, and had moved her family down to Fort Lauderdale where their headquarters were. And then a couple of years later, she became president of Carnival Cruise Line. And as far as this over 50 list, it's published annually. It's a group of 200 women whose collective power stretches really from deep sea to outer space. Yes, they've got categories: lifestyle, impact, innovation, and investment. They shine a light on leaders and change makers who really have had a tremendous success in the second half of our life. And what's fun is Christine Duffy is the only cruise industry executive, and only one of two in the travel sector who actually was named in this list, which includes outstanding women across the industry and entertainment. And Christine mentions that she's really honored to have been recognized for this prestigious recognition, and just, it's great. She's, over the course of her career, she's been inspired by so many leaders, had the chance of working with these people too. And every day she mentions, I try and offer the same type of mentorship and lead by example. And she said, it's really easy to do with the tremendous support of shipboard and shoreside teams who motivate and inspire me. And she's actually been trailblazing travel industry for 40 years. And she has many firsts, of course. Since 2015, she's been president of Carnival Cruise Line, and actually the first female at the helm of Carnival Cruise Line. And it's the part of the whole global industry leader of Carnival Corporation. And she oversees Carnival Cruise Line's fleet of 27 ships. They're home ported in North America, Europe, and Australia. Also with Pinot Cruises Australia, which has 3 ships. And together they actually sail, get this, 6 million guests annually. And she's also a member of the Allbridge Hospitality and Hersham Family Entertainment. She's worked on different boards too, which is great. And she's also sits on the Professional Advisory Board of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. And Carnival Cruise Line is actually the official celebration partner. And like I said, just it's such a great experience to share her too. Also, she was inducted into Cruise Line's International Hall of Fame, and received, that took place this year. She was introduced in the Cruise Line's Hall of Fame, which is great too. And that's kind of fun because, once again, with the Cruise Line International Association Hall of Fame, that is one thing that's done by the Cruise Lines International Association. And Christine Duffy actually was president of CLIA, the Cruise Line International Association too. So it's really great, and so exciting for her to receive this really, really fantastic named the Forbes 50 over 50 list too. So that's wonderful too. She's a great person and just so exciting. Something else we've got too is, okay, we think about cruising, and what I mentioned before is several times it's Virgin Voyages. That's Richard Branson's cruise line, and that's the one where the rule is, of course, no children allowed. You have to be 18 years old to sail on their ships. Although what they did was they do a special promotion where parents could take their kids for free, but the kids have to be 18 years and older, okay? No kids allowed. What they did was, they got their new ships, and when they first started, I had a chance to finally see the Scarlet Lady when she was coming into Port Miami in fall of 2021. And then what they do is they sail out of the U.S., but once again, too, is they've got a ship, the Resilient Lady. She actually arrived in Portsmouth for her inaugural United Kingdom sailing season. So that's great too. It's called the Resilient Lady. I love the name, don't you? And once again, this ship follows the Scarlet Lady and the Valiant Lady. And like I said, the brand first launched in 2021 with the Scarlet Lady, which is great. So now with the Resilient Lady, from August, which we're into right now, to October, Resilient Lady is offering, she's embarking on 3 to 6 night round trip getaways, calling on such cities as Amsterdam and Bruges, Lisbon, Bordeaux, Casablanca, as well as the island of, I think it's pronounced Ibiza. Then the final leg of a 12-night sailing from the UK to Spain and Morocco too. So it's great because, once again, they're back in the British waters, which is great too. And that they're fun because they're sailing, of course, out of the UK, which is great too. So once again, if it's another way to really, I think, experience different itineraries, not just in the U.S., Caribbean, but once again, they're offering different sailings in Europe, which is great. So once again, I think that's really fun. They're doing that too. And as mentioned, they've got different things on board the ship too, which I think is kind of fun. When I had a chance to see the Scarlet Lady back in 2021, we're on board the ship about 7-8 hours and got a chance to see entertainment, had dinner, which was fantastic. The entertainment was great. Once again, with Virgin Voyages, they have different restaurants you could actually dine at. It's not main seating, late seating, not the big dining rooms. They're all specialty restaurants. You have your choice where you want to dine. It was great to experience that too, because they really bring a new pulse as far as cruising. And I know what they're doing too is they're bringing back the Virgin Celebration Voyage, but it was sold out, and that was sailing from Portsmouth September 3rd with Virgin Voyages founder Sir Roger Branson, also Sir Boy George, and the Virgin Galactic astronauts that on board for a series of different events too. Also, September 14th to the 19th, their new ship will sail again round trip from Portsmouth to it'll have the first comedy festival, which is going to be headlining United Kingdom's comedians Russell, Broward maybe, but he's known for Respite, which he did back in 2019 as a tour. And it just sounds great too. So once again, keep in mind Virgin Voyages. Once again, adults only, no kids. You have to be at least 18 years or older. But I think it's so fun that the Resilient Lady is actually sailing on her first inaugural United Kingdom sailings, which is great too. Something else too is, Carnival Cruise Line, what they're doing now is they just, right now, there's been a lot of pent-up demand and different options to sail on too. But also, Carnival Cruise Line actually just announced that they're rolling out their sailings beyond April 2026. I always tell people, okay, when's a good time to book? Well, you know what? I think it's best to book farther out in advance. Don't wait last minute because ships get sold out. Also, if you wait last minute, if you're flying, it's tough to get flights, of course, and once again, it's good to probably try and fly the day before. Now, if you're sailing over river cruises, what they normally do is, with their flights, usually you fly the day before. That's good because, once again, you don't misconnect and miss the ship, okay? You don't need that. But what they did was, Carnival Cruise Line just this week announced that they're rolling out their sailings beyond April 2026. And they just listed some sailings. So they're available for booking right now, okay? They've got, for instance, the Carnival Legend from May to November 2026. Should be sailing 4 and 14-day Miami cruises. Also, 9 to 12-day, or 9, I think September through maybe December, 15-day Europe cruises too. The Carnival Miracle from April to September 2026 is offering a 16-day cruise from Tampa. Also, they're offering 7, 9, and 10-day cruises from Seattle, which is great. Once again, with the Seattle sailings, those will probably be to Alaska because that's the Alaskan season, of course. Alaskan season goes till September because then it gets too cold. But once again, they're sailing from Seattle, which is great too. It's easier to get to Seattle. I mean, Vancouver's great too. It's a beautiful port to sail out of. I've done that myself too, but Seattle's a bit easier, and it's U.S. Also, Carnival Spirit from April of 2026 through September 2026. They've got a 16-day cruise from Mobile. I think that's Alabama, right? They've also got 7, 8, 15-day cruises departing from Seattle too. So once again, if you're planning a cruise, it's good, as mentioned, to plan earlier as possible. That's why they're opening up sales right now beyond April 2026, and stay tuned because they're going to be adding more sailings that people can actually book for 2026 and 2027. So definitely keep that in mind. I think that was just so much fun to learn about that too. Something else too that came out too is we got new ships coming out. Okay, I mean Explorer 2, which is Explorer Journeys, is coming out September 15th. Should be christened over in Europe. Explorer Cruises is actually part of the MSC group, and once again they are family owned. Explorer Journeys is their luxury cruise line. Their first ship, the Explorer 1, started sailing last year. Got postponed due to the pandemic, but she sailed out last year. Smaller ships, very luxury, and their mindset is bringing that ocean life to sea. So I got their Explorer 2 coming out later on in September. September 15th, I think, is the christening. I'll be writing about that, still waiting on more information too, but it's so exciting to see that. And she's going to be actually sailing, christened over in Europe first, and then later on, I think by December, she'll be doing a sailing across the ocean and then to Miami, and I think she's going to offer some sailings from Miami too. I'll keep you posted on that too. It sounds really exciting, but Explorer 2 is going to be debuting, being christened in September 15th, so we have 2 weeks away, which is great. But keep that in mind, because once again, their mindset is that ocean life to sea, and smaller ships, very luxury. They really like embracing that kind of thing too. And also another cruise line that's owned by the MSC group, their family owned, is MSC Cruises. Okay, they've got their new ship coming out next year, and that's their World America, and she's going to be sailing out of Port Miami, starting, I'm going down for the naming christening ceremony too. That's going to be April 9th to the 12th of next year from Port Miami, but that's MSC Cruises, which is their separate company. It's a great company too, and once again with MSC Cruises, a part of the MSC group, which owns MSC Cruises. They've got Explorer Journeys, their luxury cruise line. They have their nonprofit, the MSC Foundation, of course, and then they've got, which was like where they began 2 years ago, is their MSC Container Shipping Company too. That was actually the core of the family business years and years ago for a couple hundred years. They got into that first, and then got into the cruise industry too with ships, and then decided to launch their U.S. office in 2004. And then they've grown like crazy to launch Explorer Journeys with their Explorer 1 last year. They've got, I think, 6 Explorer ships coming out over the years. And with the Explorer 1, she just debuted last year. Explorer 2 is going to be christened, of course, in September 15th. And they are operated by liquefied natural gas, which is great because, once again, it's another thing that cruise lines are doing as far as the sustainability. They're very, very proactive about this, and people need to be aware of it too. Very proactive what they're doing as far as the net carbon zero too, as far as what's going on. Also, what's good too is with cruise lines, they're actually being able to get more shore power too. Okay, what they do is, in fact, this came out of Miami. Port Miami now has shore power available for ships where they are actually docked, can, instead of using their energy and things, actually can plug into the shore power. And I know that with Port Miami, they just did a big sermon about that too. So once again, there's no way to really save on the energy too, but also cruise lines are using liquefied natural gas to really operate their ships, which is great. And something else, as far as another ship coming out too, I mentioned this before, but you know, we had the newest, biggest ship ever built in the cruise industry came out earlier in January. Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas, of course, and she is the biggest ship ever built. Okay, and she came out late January this year, but also as mentioned with Icon of the Seas, she actually has a special dog officer. Yes, she has their chief dog officer. Okay, Rover, Golden Retriever, and she's a chief dog officer on board Icon of the Seas ship, which is great. And she's there. She's not really driving the ship with 4 paws. Okay, keep that in mind. But she's in the bridge a lot with the captain. Awesome. She's on board the ship to really, really embrace people as far as what she does to bring smiles to people's faces too, which is great too. So keep that in mind too. But also, they've been a new Icon class ship coming out next year. Okay, it's going to be called the Star of the Seas, and she's actually going to be sailing out of Port Canaveral. Okay, and so she'll be a sister ship to Icon Seas, and what's great too, but she's going to be called Star of the Seas. And in August of next year, August 2025, what's great is the Star of the Seas is going to be sailing out of Port Canaveral, which gives us really, really another itinerary to think about to do too. And with Star of the Seas, starting in August, it's a way for family and people vacation to actually enjoy different things. You know, they've got on board the ship, they've got their new restaurant, the Lincoln Park Supper Club. They've got their 1930s inspired spin on the Supper Club experience, and they've got multiple courses with live entertainment. Also, they've actually got the thrills like fastest and tallest water slides, along with more than 40 dining and drinking outlets and calls to Perfect Day at Coco Cay. That's their private out island. So Perfect Day at Coco Cay is a private out island. The ship's docked right there. People enjoyed it, which is great. As far as the Star of the Seas is mentioned, she's got, like I said, sailing out of Port Canaveral. And it's really great as far as, really, really combining vacation plus the beach retreat. And also, which is their Perfect Day Coco Cay, which is great too. Also, they've got some things too that are kind of interesting too. They've got Thrill Island actually has 6 water slides. Yes, water slides on a ship. They got the Crown's Edge, which is a skywalk 154 feet above the ocean. They've got the Flow Rider Surf Simulator, mini golf, and also got spots to really grab a bite and drinks too. And then Chill Island is home to they've got 4 to 7 pools, right? They've got different vibes, of course, and themes. Ocean views too, which is great because, when you think about swimming pools, well, I think it's wonderful just experience the swimming pool while you're actually on a ship, and that way you're swimming in the pool, not in the water off the ship. Okay, and they've got different areas, which is great too because they've got their Aquadome, which houses their Aqua Theater shows. This includes high divers, aerialists, robots, and dancers. With the Aquadome Market Food Hall, that includes the Rye and Bean Bar, Hooked, and the Overlook Bar, and also they've got their Overlook Pods for views too. And then they've got their own, also for adults only, got a special spot. It's called the Hideaway, which is an adults only spot that combines the beach club vibes with a suspended infinity pool. So it's actually a suspended infinity pool, DJ, bar terraces with whirlpools. So think about that too. I mean, how fun to actually have an adults area that actually has a suspended infinity pool and whirlpools too. And with Star of the Seas, she's going to be sailing, I think, in 7-night cruises, and she's going to be joining Utopia of the Seas, which sails on 3 and 4 night getaways from Port Canaveral. And also, coming out in 2025, Royal Caribbean has a Royal Beach Club Paradise Island, which is a different private out island separate from their, Beautiful Day Coco Cay, which is great too. So once again, it's kind of fun that Star of the Seas is going to be coming out next year in August. And should be really pretty much identical, I think, to the Icon of the Seas, which is her sister ship. What's distinctly different is the fact that she's got, should be home porting in Port Canaveral, which is really located near Orlando. It's about an hour away from Orlando. And then once again, she's going to be offering week-long vacations that includes stops at their private island, Perfect Day Coco Cay in the Bahamas. And right now, as far as where she is sailing to, besides Perfect Day Coco Cay in the Bahamas, her maiden voyage is going to go to St. Kitts and Nevis, okay, Cozumel, Mexico, also Phillipsburg, St. Martin, Roatan, Honduras, and also San Juan, Puerto Rico. And all their itineraries, which is great on these 7-night cruises, will be including a Perfect Day Coco Cay. So once again, you go to different islands, but also come back to Perfect Day Coco Cay and really relax, enjoy their private island where you can actually relax on the beach, enjoy different foods, experiences, and just kind of relax too, which I think great too. And of course, as far as the neighborhoods too, she's got similar to Icon Seas, her sister ship. She's got different neighborhoods, okay, and she's got their I said they've got their neighborhoods include Thrill Island and Chill Island. They got the Aquadome. They've also got Central Park, and they've also got on board too. What's great too is they got pools and areas for cruisers of all cruisers of all ages too. Like I said, they've got 6 water slides, and they've got their full-blown Category 6 water park, which is perched on the upper decks. And then for families, they've got their separate Surfside neighborhood, which is also, they've got their Lemon Post Bar and other new experiences too. Also for adults, as I mentioned, they've got their Cloud 17 retreat. And also what I think is kind of fun too is they've got a unique swim and tonic bar, as well as their infinity pool itself in the Hideaway. The Hideaway, I think, is the adults only area. But also they've got the Crown's Edge, which is a skywalk, which is actually a ropes course, and a thrill ride too. And as mentioned, the water park, has all kinds of slides for people to enjoy too. So what they're doing is they're really combining different things for people to enjoy on their vacations, okay? And what they're doing too is, I know that similar to the Icon of the Seas Empire Supper Club, Star of the Seas will be home to Lincoln Park Super Supper Club. Guests can enjoy a 1930s Chicago-style multi-course experience complete with live entertainment. I think that's really fun too, because when you go and dine on a cruise ship, one fun thing too is, I've enjoyed it too, is when you've got entertainment, which is great too. And then of course they've got other areas as far as different dining areas too on board. Those include the Aquadome Market, the Surfside Eatery, Base Camp, Deserted, and more. And also a fun little thing about Star of the Seas, which you might not know, but I want to share it with you, is that Star of the Seas is going to have another special officer on board. And guess what? Who's it going to be? They're also going to have a chief dog officer. Yes, ruff! Yes. Star of the Seas is going to have a chief dog officer. I had the pleasure of talking to Michael Bailey, the president of Royal Caribbean, who was at a cruise conference back in April. We talked privately for a few minutes. He had to go into a meeting, but we talked about them having their chief dog officer on Icon Seas, and her name is Rover, Golden Retriever. She's in the bridge, but she's not driving the ship, of course. She's there to create smiles and fun for people, too. But he told me that they're going to have a chief dog officer on board Star of the Seas, and guess what her name is? You want to think? Her name? Think about it. Her name's going to be called Sailor. Yes. Sailor's going to be the chief dog officer for the new Star of the Seas ship coming out next year in August. And she'll be sailing, of course, from Port Canaveral on 7-night cruises. But I thought, how fun to have another chief dog officer on board the ship, because once again, she'll bring smiles to people's faces to it, which is great too. And of course, she's got someone who takes care of her. She's not in the bridge with the captain, of course, but it's great because I think it's so much fun to have a chief dog officer on the ship too. And right now, Royal Caribbean is the only one that has chief dog officer, Rover, plus adding a chief dog officer to their new ship, Star of the Seas. But how fun is that? Isn't that fun? I love that. I'm going to share me with that name too. I love that. But having a chief dog officer on board their ship, which is great. But think about that. Because once again, people love their dogs like their kids. And sometimes when you have to travel, maybe go on a cruise vacation, you board your dog, or maybe have someone take care of your dog. Once again, too, is you really miss your dog, right? Don't you? I mean, you can't just pick up the phone and talk to your dog, right? But once again, in this case, it's fun to think about having a chief dog officer board a ship, and you can actually you'll have a chance to see the chief dog officer at different places too. I think that's really kind of fun too. Think about that too. So keep that in mind for next year. Because once again, with the Star of the Sea, she'll be offering sailings from Port Canaveral, which is about an hour away at the most from Orlando, and offering 7-night cruises. Also, just a recap, we've got more ships sailing out of Port Galveston, because MSC Cruises is building a new terminal there too. I think that will be opening up maybe in 2026, I'm not sure. Also, we've got, of course, with the, as mentioned, the Resilient Lady is going to start sailing for inaugural sailing season in Europe, and that's part of Virgin Voyages. Also, we've got a lot of new ships coming up with AMA Waterways. It's just been trying to keep on top of this with AMA Waterways. They're adding so many ships too, which is great. Once again, though, what's really good about AMA Waterways is Rudy Schreiner is known as the architect of river cruising, and he was actually an architect over in Europe, came to the U.S., did projects, then he wound up actually going down to South America for a project, came back, and then relocated to, I think it was outside New Orleans, because he actually did his master's in business administration at Loyola University, New Orleans, where I did my MBA at Loyola Chicago. And he helped other companies start river cruising, and then actually came into a partnership with Mr. Murphy, and then Christine Hartz came in, and they officially launched AMA Waterways 22 years ago. And they've successfully built new ships. They got more ships coming out, which is great. And they're offering so many different options too. I mean, their river cruising is wonderful, but also what's good too is, they're offering so many options. You can sail on their river cruises in Europe, but also keep in mind the Nile River in Egypt, which is great. Another option, of course, is, they're offering, what I think is really exciting is next year they'll be offering these sailings on their 2 new ships on the Magdalena River in South America. And they also offer different sailings too. I know Vietnam, Cambodia, which is great too. So definitely keep that in mind, because once again, the next thing with river cruise line ships, they're smaller. And they're really much all-inclusive. They usually include free shore excursions. You usually fly the day before, so you don't miss flights, misconnect, whatever. And once again, they have different options on board the ship, different dining options too. And also, what they do is they take you to beautiful places that maybe the big cruise lines can't get into, which is great. So I think that's one benefit too. I mean, we've got cruise lines that sail to Europe. The problem is sometimes their ships are too big, they can't get into smaller places. And that's, I think, one benefit of considering maybe taking a river cruise line, because you can actually sail into smaller places. Okay, but keep that in mind too, because I'm really, really excited about the Magdalena River cruises, and they've got 2 new ships they're building right now, and I think that's just really, really wonderful too, because once again, it's just exciting to think about options out there more than ever. Mark, any questions for me? Because we got wonderful options out there.
No, you just did a great show as always, all about those things. I was just actually listening and hearing about all the amazing things going on in the shipping business and the travel industry and all along those lines and all in that space. I was just wondering, because one of the things that was crossing my mind is maybe this is a question that our listeners may not have thought about, but there's all the folks going out on these cruises and everything, that there is a major part of the cruise that the cruise industry has to be prepared for, which is the bed. Like I think I'll probably get into that later on today and everything that I'm just thinking about how many beds are there on the cruise ships and how they have to take care of all of the bed with the various seats and all along those lines. So I was just thinking about that aspect of the cruising, because there's a lot of ways on a hotel on the sea and all in that. So I'm just wondering if you had any ideas on those large cruises as to how many beds are there per ship and everything, and how they do in terms of maintaining the maintenance of that. Because I'm thinking that they probably will change those sheets and linen at least daily, all in that space. And some cases maybe more than that. But
Right.
if you have
They do.
others around there,
Usually
then
they'll give you a
we want to be
request to do
comfortable.
that too. That's a good question. Because once again, usually when you leave the room, you put a little tag outside, open, because they will actually clean things up and provide new things if you need them too. And like they do too after we went through COVID-19, they're very, very careful, of course, too, about going to the rooms. Once again, too, is when you leave your stateroom, usually there's a little card you put outside that is open, and they can actually clean the stateroom for you. And usually what they do too now is the house that you actually put in the bed if you want the sheets to be changed. They let you know that you can let them know in advance too.
Right.
They're very careful cleaning the rooms every day. They do that. And you just let them know when you're not in the ship in your stateroom too, which is great too.
And that makes a lot of sense. You definitely want to be prepared in that sense and everything. Because I imagine that sometimes they will probably do that while you're on those journeys. A lot of the ships will have you going to the restaurants and the various restaurants. And of course, they've got those excursions. That's what I was looking for, and everything. So that's probably when they take care of that. When you're out on the excursions or doing other things in that are part of the itinerary.
Right. They do that, What's good too is then you just let them know when you're on the stateroom. You put a little tag right there on the outside of the stateroom on the door handle.
Mm-hmm.
And that way they know that the cleaning people can actually come in and clean the stateroom, change the towels. If you want the sheets changed, they have this little thing you put on the bed itself too. The sheets changed. That's great too, because once again, it's just great that they do that. And another great service that they provide on cruise ships too.
Yep, that is a great service that they do. And along those lines, I think we'll go out maybe this time with the kids and Virgin Voyage. I know they've got that wonderful program that they're allowing the kids to go on the trip if they're a certain age and everything. But we have that fun commercial about the kids that are frustrated because their parents are going on a fun trip and they're not going on that trip.
Right. You have to be 18 years and older, but once again, they just did a big promotion where parents can take their kids if they're 18 years and older on Virgin Voyages. Yes.
That sounds good. We're here some of the little kids as we head out. They're frustrated because they couldn't go on the trip and everything. Who knows? Maybe after the elections, since there was both the DNC this month, which I know was in Chicago, and the RNC was in Milwaukee last month. So maybe after the election, some of these politicians that were on the weekend and some of the luminaries can go on a cruise themselves. So who knows? You might go on a cruise, you might see Kamala or Jackie Hoffman, you might see Trump, or you might see J.D. Vance after the election. We find out who loses. Maybe one of them will decide to head off to a cruise to have a way to dust off their wounds, for lack of a better term.
Well, I think so, but I think it's a great way to relax. Believe me, I'm just going through ship withdrawal. I'm trying to get something booked myself, maybe in November, because it's just a great way to really experience the waters. The oceans call me like crazy. I love sailing the Caribbean. I do want to go back to Alaska. I'd like to do European river cruise too sometime, but once again, the oceans just relax me so much, Nice and gorgeous. They just relax me so much. You see beautiful places on board the ship, and so much to do on board the ship too. It's really pretty much included, which is great because you're not paying to see shows on board the ships, which is great. We've got different food and dining. Sometimes there's special restaurants where you have to actually pay a little more, but it's not bad at all, seriously. But once again, just the energy is fantastic. Different things during the day, at night. Just get on a ship and relax, and enjoy. Because once again, it goes back to that the ocean just is so relaxing. It's what explorers really focus on too, because they talk about their cruises being the ocean life at sea, which is great.
Sounds good. We'll go out with Virgin Voyages, and we'll be back next week with another exciting episode.
Thank you.
Mama, Papa, was your suitcase packed but not mine? How could you leave us kids behind? Parents are going on a cruise without us kids, and we know whose fault know you deserve it, but the fact we can't go is total bull.